Om Sahana Avatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev. So let's share our input. Sloka 17 to 9 to 17. Chapter 8. So my input is that it is not enough if you're doing just karma yoga. Karma yoga is important to cleanse the mind. It is also important to do dhyana and nididhyasana. Dhyana, nididhyasana. Dhyana is on Saguna Brahma, and nididhyasana is upasana on the Nirguna Brahma. So these two will steady the mind. So not only do you need a cleansed mind, you also need a steady mind um, to attain the highest, to realize yourself, to gain that knowledge. And ultimately, it is with knowledge that you reach your goal. In all lovely shlokas that Bhagavan has mentioned, he gives the guarantee that, once you've done this, you will reach me. And he gives also a very other means, like keeping your mind in between the eyebrows, stabilizing it in the intellect, in a purified intellect, that hridi, and holding your breath. So all the yoga and hatha yoga and all those, the pranayama and all that, that will help you gain mastery over your prana. That it will also lead you to steadying the mind and reaching the goal. And why one doesn't have a rebirth after attaining this knowledge is because birth is because of ignorance. So when that itself is not there, that is removed completely by the sword of knowledge, then there is no rebirth. No punarjanma na vidyati. Yeah. Yeah, we can all share our takeaways, and then we'll go to chapter 2.
Hari Om. I love the word kavim, and the smallest of the smallest and the largest of the largest. So it will help us, like as yesterday Premji said, that tambura ki tarah. So if we try to keep this in mind, that he is Ananta, he is the smallest of the small and the biggest of the big. I mean, so Anuma Garima. So these characteristics of Bhagwan is my today's takeaway. Very beautiful. Dhanyavad.
Brahma, can you please repeat? You were saying about Saguna and Nirguna. How? I mean, you were explaining something. I just missed it.
Dhyana is about the Saguna Brahma, whereas Nididhyasana is about the Nirguna Brahma, the attributeless Brahma. So both are important. Dhyana, nididhyasana, to steady the mind. Because it's not important to just have a purified, cleansed mind. That can also waver, that can keep moving to and fro. So in order to keep that mind steady on the Atma Tattva, on Brahman, you require both dhyana as well as nididhyasana. So initially it's about the Saguna Brahma, whereas later you slip into nididhyasana, where you look at him as all of this one who is omniscient, one who is Anoraniyam Mahato Mahiyan.
It reminded me of Lord Hanuman, and Madhuriji had wonderfully said once that देहाभ्यास जब तक है तब तक जैसे हम लोग हनुमान जी की तरह भक्ति करना है. That we Anima and Garima, these two are there in Lord Hanuman also as his Lord Rama's bhakta. He can become the smallest as well as the
Grow up to be very huge.
yeah.
These are all part of the siddhis, no? The Ashta siddhis. Anima,
Yes, yes.
Garima, Laghima,
Mahima, yes.
Mahima. There are others. Anybody else wants to share? Otherwise, we'll just run through the shlokas once and then go to chapter 2. So, Kavim Purana Manushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredhyah Sarvasya Dhataramachintya Rupam Adityavarnam Tamasah Parastat. So, Kavim, the one who is omniscient, Puranam, the most ancient, Anushasitaram, the one who rules everything, Anoho Aniyamsam, the one who is subtler than the subtlest, Sarvasya Dhataram, one who ordains all. And here, I think Nana had mentioned one who ordains all is, he quoted the shloka from Taittiriya Upanishad. He said, Bhishma, Bhishasmad Vataf Pavate, Bhishodeti Suryaha, Bhishad, Bhisha Vataf Pavate, Bhishodeti Suryaha, Bhishasmad Agnischendrascha, Mrityurdhavati Panchama iti. So, Yama also, it is because of this fear that there is the sun rises or the wind blows. Even Yama, the Lord of Death, follows this ordain or this follows the rule that this omniscient Brahman establishes. So the moment a person's prarabdha is done, he's ready to leave the body. That is it. Mrityu comes after it. Then achintya rupam, whose form cannot be conceived of. Aditya varnam, whose form is like luster of the sun. Tamasah parastat. This is only a simile because there is no color that Atma has. This is only like to indicate, as an indicator, because he is self-effulgent. Tamasah parastat, the one who is beyond ignorance and knowledge. Yaha anusmaret, the one who contemplates upon. Saha paramam purusham divyam upaiti. To the limitless person who is effulgent, yati, he goes. So the one who contemplates upon the one who is omniscient, the most ancient, who rules subtler than the subtlest, ordainer of all, whose form cannot be conceived of, who is effulgent like the sun, who is beyond ignorance and knowledge, he goes to limitless self-effulgent person. That is what we have to drop, even knowledge, who is beyond ignorance and knowledge. Knowledge is there, is required for us to reach that place. But once you attain that, like Gurudev had mentioned once, that knowledge is like soap. So you use it to cleanse yourself, but once that is done, you wash away the soap as well. So you let go of even that. When you reach that place, that the abode, then there is nothing else that exists. It is just, well, even to comprehend such a space is beautiful, no? In prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bhruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyak satam param purushamapaiti divyam. Purusha mupaiti divyam. Prayana kale, at the time of death, achalena manasa, with a steady mind, bhaktya. Yeah, the shloka of the Taittiriya Upanishad. Yeah. It is Bhishasmad Vataf Pavati, Bhishodeti Suryaha, Bhishasmad Agnischendrasya, Mrityurdhavati Panchama iti. So, Pranakal, yeah. Achalena Manasa, with a steady mind, Bhaktya Yuktaha, endowed with devotion, Yoga Balena Chaiva, and with the strength gathered by yoga, Eva indeed, Bhruvoho Madhye, between the brows, Pranam Aveshya Samyak, placing the breath properly, Saha hi, Tam Param Purusham Divyam, that limitless effulgent person, Upaiti, reaches. At the time of death, with a steady mind, endowed with devotion and the strength gathered by yoga, indeed, placing the breath properly between the brows, he reaches that limitless effulgent person. So here I was reminded of not only our sadhana that we do, but specifically the advanced course meditations, where you take your attention between the eyebrows and then the tip of the nostril. You keep doing that, and that is like such a pranopasana that happens time and again. So how Guruji is like so gradually, steadily keeping us on the path. Because it will not just come at the time of death. This cannot just happen like that. All this requires um, steady practice for a long length of time. See, all are mentioned here, no? See, Prayanaka, Achalena Manasa, with a steady mind. For the steady mind, you require both a cleansed mind and a steady mind. So you require Karma Yoga, you require Dhyana and Nididhyasana. And Bhaktya Yukta, with devotion. So the element of Bhakti is very important. And Yoga Balena Chaiva, also yoga, practice of yoga. And we have all of this. We have Seva, Satsang, sadhana, seva, satsang, and knowledge. Such a comprehensive path we are in. Yadaksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yadyatayo vitaragaha yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. Yat aksharam, that which does not decline. Veda vidaha, those who know the Veda. Vadanti, talk about. Yat, that. Yatayaha, those who make effort, that is sannyasis. Vitaragaha, those who are free from desire. Vishanti, enter. Yadichanti, desiring which. Brahmacharyam charanti, they, the Yatayaha and the Vitaraga, follow a life of study and discipline. Tat padam, that end. Sangrahena pravakte pravakshe. Briefly, I will tell you. I will tell you briefly about that end which does not decline, about which knowers of Veda talk about, which the renunciates free from desire enter, desiring which they follow a life of study and discipline. Then sarvadvarani samyamya manohridi niruddhya cha murdhyadha yatmana pranam astito yogadharana omityekaksharam brahma vyaharan manusmaran yaprayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. Sarvadvarani, all the gates, that is sense organs, samyamya, closing, manaha, the mind, hridi, into the heart. Here the heart is the intellect, the purified intellect, niruddhyacha, and withdrawing, atmanaha pranam, one's own prana, murdhni, at the top of his head, adhaya, placing, yoga dharanam astitaha, being the one who remains holding his prana by yoga. Om iti eka aksharam brahma, the single syllable Om, which is Brahman. Vyaharan, chanting. Mam anusmaran, remembering me. Deham tyajan, giving up the body. Yaha prayati, the one who departs. Saha, he. Paramam gatim yati, goes to the most exalted end. So yesterday, I think Dr. Mara had this which one thing should we chant, right? So, I mean, here in this verse, it talks of Om, chanting Om. But then, as far as I know, Om is not given as a mantra to anyone. You're not supposed to use Om as a continuous japa mantra. It is there in the beginning of every shloka, every chant, yes, but you don't do Om chanting continuously, like, and that too in your mind. You can say it aloud, but you're not supposed to take it silently. Like how
Yeah,
we take
even
the
in
Sai
Sayyam.
mantra. Yeah.
Yeah, in Sayyam also they strictly tell. I remember when
But
in the presence of Gurudev, Kashi Bhaiya was insisting कि ये ओम लेके अपना जपा का शुरू मत कर देना. Strictly he instructed.
But I don't know the actual reason why. They say
But
you should
They
not.
never tell the reason. Even many people asked Kashi Bhaiya. And Gurudev was present, but नहीं बताते हैं क्यों पता नहीं.
But in the Dayananda's, I think in the beginning of this chapter, I think 8, or he mentioned something about Taraka mantra. That is, the first one is Om, the second one is Rama's name. So, I mean, I don't know how many times you can say it, but it's again, you have to say it the same way, like how you're taking the deep breath, and as you go out, is you have to say it louder only, like 21 times or something like that. I have done that with another practice that they taught me before. So I'm not sure, but like you said, yeah, normally we say Om with some other Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya or Om Namah Shivaya, something like that. Not that I know different way to say it.
I think so
in
that
this, but
Om is the primordial sound, no? So once you, if it becomes like a ajapa jap for someone, you will lose, you will get
It's not like japa,
connected
it's
to the
more like a,
frequency. No, you will get to the that kind of frequency where you will find it practically impossible to hold on to the body. I think you will get that kind of vibrations. If you get to this om chanting becomes like a ajapa jap for someone, then the vibrations of that soul, um, uh, that what you say, no, same frequency, it catches up the whole. So if you get start vibrating in that vibration, it will become practically impossible to hold on to the body. I think so. This is my own mind stuff. Huh? I have not read it anywhere. So maybe we need to uh, consult somebody. We can ask it to Nanaji.
yeah,
Ask
even
Nana
Om
for it.
is considered as a mild sound compared to the mantras you are given, the Sagaj mantras, the Samadhi mantras, they are a little bit stronger than Om sound.
But
Even
Om is the most powerful actually. It is the only sound that is closest to Brahman. Of all the sounds, Veda is of course the means, yes, but Om, according to Patanjali, Maharshi Patanjali, is the sound that is closest to Brahman. So I suppose it's a very powerful thing, and number one. And I think like what Madhuri ji said, I guess that is true, because there are these people who they attain the Sajiva Samadhi, right? So while in their physical body, they make the physical body just disappear. They have this siddhi of doing that. So probably they use this Om for that. I don't know. Even I don't know much about it. But all I know is that Om should not be taken silently, number one. It has to be chanted aloud. And yeah, we are asked not to take it as a uh, japa mantra inside the mind, like silently.
yeah. Jai Gurudev. Like I initially also said that the description about Om, it's in the Mandukya Upanishad, and it is like the Om Shabd is consisting of three parts, na? U, Ma, three, U, and Ma. So when you focus on the Ma part, then it leads to Virakti. And the person who are in the grast, they are not allowed to emphasize on the ma portion of the om, because then you will lose interest in your worldly life. So that is the reason that the chanting of om is not prescribed to everyone, and it's like there are many ways of taking om. Either you emphasize on the ma part more, or you emphasize on the o or a part more. So the type of chanting, the type of the mode of chanting, rather, the way you chant om, that there are different manners. So the what I have like studied, it's the you don't have to emphasize on the ma part if you are in the worldly life, and if you want to achieve the like if you have become a sannyasi and you have left the world, then the sannyasi, they focus on the ma part more, because when you focus on the ma part, it's the vibration are felt on the sahastra, this point, on the vertex part. So that leads to more of serenity, and prolonged chanting of the ma portion, emphasizing on the ma part more, makes the meditation more deeper, but it has that it cuts you off from the worldly life. So that is a little bit knowledge that I had studied from the Mandukya Upanishad, and it's more deeper,
Savita ji, it makes more sense what you are saying. It really makes sense.
yeah, it's in the Mandukya Upanishad that it is only about the Shabd Om. So it's
Thank
has
you.
the different meanings, and like the part, the significance of u, and ma. It's described very elaborately in it.
Thank you for the clarification. But don't we chant? This is how we were taught. No, we chant A, U as 2/3 and M as the 1/3. So aren't
Yeah,
we focusing on all the three aspects when we chant Om?
No, during our Sayyam Brahmaraji, Gurudev said this also when Kashi Bhaiya was insisting na ki Om ka japa mat karna when he was saying. So simultaneously, somebody asked the question also from the participants. So Gurudev said ki when precisely when it is when he is saying ki chant Om 3 times and all, उससे that is उससे इतना effect नहीं होता है. What I am trying to say, when it becomes a unknowingly, when it becomes a ajapa jap for you, then you get attuned to that typical Om vibrations. Then it will become impossible to hold on to the body. ऐसा ये मेरा understand, that is my mind stuff, as I am saying. But Gurudev said कि थोड़ा Om, what 3 times and 21 times Om बोल के it is not going to make you completely dispassionate and drop the body. उतना नहीं होने वाला है. Don't worry. Keep on doing whatever you are doing. That's what Gurudev said.
And I think like what
Normally,
Nana said, we'll know more about Om in the 10th chapter.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you about that. The eighth chapter in the beginning, they talk about it and they will discuss it in the later part. I wasn't sure it's in the later part of the eighth or other chapters, but there is information about these mantras in that.
Yeah.
Even the one I mentioned to you, Brahmaraji, that about this, I do this Gurudev's, what do you call that? You have that app, right? Art of Living. That one
Art of Living
only
app,
says this Om is not that, they were describing that as this Sagaj mantras are a little bit more of um, powerful, and the Om mantra isn't like that. Somebody was discussing about it. So that's what I know, but I don't know anything about any of these mantras. So I'm trying to learn about it more.
right.
Yeah.
Om is not for the ajapa mantra. It's not. It's only for chanting Om. Initially, when you start chanting, you chant the whole word Om very precisely, and taking the whole in a one breath. You inhale and exhale. Like when you inhale and you chant Om, you take it as a whole. But as you keep on chanting, the frequency, the volume, all of it decreases automatically. And I've been chanting from like COVID times. It when started. I started like in one of my Art of Living, the teacher here from whom I did the my first happiness course. He actually introduced that part. So I've been chanting from many years, and from last 2-3 years, the Om chanting I've been doing, and it makes the meditation more deeper. What I have felt, and once I did the sadhana also for 3 hours continuously, Om chanting. In between, I took 2 breaks, but it wasn't anything that I could. It was only for the like more of all your thoughts and all your uh, restlessness calms down. That experience I had. I am still doing like for 15 minutes, I chant Om before doing my meditation. And it helps a lot. Nothing like I've not experienced anything else, but it's quite a good experience when you do Om chanting. The only thing which we have been told is that not to focus more part on Om, the Ma part, because that will lead to Virakti. So if you are in Grahast, you have to take this precaution only. Otherwise, I do sometimes more part also, but definitely it has more effect on the your consciousness, the more part. It makes you more at peace.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev. Even once the Swamiji, when they were doing japa during COVID time, he had described that Om alone should not be chanted for many times by Gruhastha. Gruhastha can combine it with any other mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate or Om Namo Narayana. Like that, they can combine and chant Om like that, but not just Om alone. Should not chant for a longer time. For Gruhastha, this was prescribed.
So on the lighter note,
Savitaji.
to convert from Grihastha to Sannyasi, I think we can take the recourse of Om. This seems to be the shortest way forward. No?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we can, as we are dropping everything, we can drop the other names of God also,
When
just
we-
Om.
When we decided, of course, it is not our choice. Sannyasa is also a happening. But maybe this is something that we can hold on to, a practical tool.
Savitaji, can you chant the Om without stressing more on and Ma? Because see,
Yes, of course.
the
When you chant Om, use with Om. Last में वो म आ गया है ना? Like this, you stretch the O part more, and last में you say ma. That is how you can chant Om, and
okay.
it's yeah. I have the feeling that feeling attachment with detachment feeling. you are attached, but still you are detached. The more
Okay.
feelings.
Because
Yes.
I have my experience is when you chant Om, automatically the M part reverberates more in our existence. So good
Because
that you told that
it ends with ma,
extend the Om.
that's why it reverberates, because it ends with ma. But if you consistently say Om, then the O part which you are starting with, it elongates quite a lot with your breath. According to your breath, it elongates, and
Okay.
the ma is
Thank you
cut
so
short.
much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Let me give it a try.
Maybe we can ask Nana ji, but I was telling only my experience, because during COVID times, and naturally you had more time, so there was much more to read and much more to experience. So I had explored this thing as I did this Mandukya Upanishad with one of the teachers. So and after reading that only, I started doing the Om chanting.
Very nice to, listen to your experience of this. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Ananya cheta satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. So Partha, O Partha, Ananya Chetaha, being the one whose mind that sees no other, Yaha, the one who, Nityashaha, for a length of time, Satatam, constantly, Mam, me, Smarati, remembers, Tasya Yoginaha, for that yogi. Nitya yuktasya, who is always united with me. Aham sulabhaha, I am easily gained. So this is the other route, is to constantly keep him in the back of our mind. O Partha, the one who has a mind that sees no other, who remembers me constantly for a length of time, for that yogi who is always united with me, I am easily gained. I think if we combine the practice of living in the present moment with devotion, if we combine these two, then we would be close to what the shloka talks of. Mamupetya punar dukhalayamashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanah samsiddhim paramam gataha. Mahatmanah, the wise men, upetya, having reached, mam, dukkhalayam, the mam, me, dukkha alaya, the abode of misery, ashashvatam, finite, punarjanma, another birth, na apnuvanti, do not gain, paramam samsiddhim, the ultimate success, gataha, have reached, they have reached. Having reached me, the wise men do not gain another birth, which is the abode of misery and is finite. They have reached the ultimate success. Abrahma bhuvanan lokaha punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. O Arjuna, Abrahma bhuvanat lokaha, all the worlds where being exists up to the world of Brahmaji, punaravartinaha, are of the nature of returning back, leading back. Tu, however, mam upetya, having reached me, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, punarjanma na vidyate, rebirth, there is no rebirth. O Arjuna, all the worlds where beings exist, up to the world of Brahmaji, are of the nature of those from whom one will return. However, having reached me, O son of Kunti, there is no rebirth. Sahasra yuga ahar 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 yad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratravido janaha. Ye janaha, those people, aho ratravidaha, who know about the day and night, they, yat brahmanaha ahaha, that which is the day of Brahmaji, tat, that, sahasra yuga paryantam, as that which has a measure of 1000 yugas, viduhu, no, brahmanaha ratrimcha, the and night of Brahmaji, yuga sahasra antam, as that which has a measure of 1000 yugas, viduhu, no. Those people who know about the day and night know that a day of Brahmaji has a measure of 1000 yugas and a night of Brahmaji a measure of 1000 yugas. So this yuga is actually a Mahayuga, which is sum total of all the 4 yugas, including the twilight zone between one yuga and the other yuga. So you have the Krita, the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, as well as the Kali Yuga. So it is such a huge expanse. You can just imagine, and even that is finite. Brahmaji is part of Maya, right? But whereas when you're talking of the absolute Brahman, that is beyond even this. So just the thought of such an expansive stretch of time is awe-inspiring. Anyone wants to share anything? Today we've already reached 6:43. We've got only a few minutes left.
Just feeling so grateful for this satsanga. Today's every day it is so awesome.
Yeah.
Dhanyavad to everyone. Very beautiful.
So we'll ask this question. If we can put it in the question bank about Om, we'll take it up. So, chapter 2, further Krishna said, Yah sarvatranabhisneha tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Yah, the one who, sarvatra, in all situations, anabhisneha, without attachment, tat, whatever, shubhashubham, the pleasant and unpleasant, prapya, gaining, na abhinandati, does not rejoice, na dveshti, does not hate, tasya, his prajna, knowledge, pratishtita, is well established. For the one who is unattached in all situations, who does neither rejoices on gaining the pleasant and nor hates the unpleasant, his knowledge is well established. The Muni discussed in the last verse is the person referred to here. A Muni is a Jnani, one who has the capacity for vichara and therefore knowledge. Such a person is said to be unattached to anything. Sarvatra anabhisneha. Sneha means affection or love. The literal meaning of this word in Sanskrit is anything viscous like oil or ghee or glue. If you touch it, it sticks to you. Thus, anything sticky is called sneha. Affection is considered to be sneha because the person for whom you have affection sticks to you. Even if the person is away from you, he or she is always with you in your thoughts. Because there is sharing involved, the other person's joys and sorrows become your joys and sorrows. You are deeply affected by the person, and therefore there is sneha, affection between the two of you. Can I continue till I finish these two paras? Affection need not be a problem. However, attachment, abhisneha, is definitely a nuisance. When a mother has affection for her child, there is no problem because the child needs the affection in order to grow well. To be fondled, talked to, listened to, and cared for, all of which is sneha, is very important for the child's growth. But what usually happens is that affection becomes attachment. And attachment means there is a strangulation of some kind. Instead of being an object of your affection, the person becomes an object to be possessed and controlled. The need to control is a common problem everywhere. It is also a very old problem, which is why Krishna addressed it in this verse. Attachment is not there for a wise person. His or her heart is never caught anywhere. It is always free and in its own place. In fact, most of us have empty hearts because that which is in our heart has been distributed in little bits to various places. A little bit in the furniture, another bit in the carpet, and still other bits in your bank balance, and a variety of other things. All that is left is a ticking heart. Everything else has been liberally distributed around and about. In this way, we lose our hearts in quite a few places. And even say so, I lost my heart. My gosh, this is so good. You know, sneha and abhisneha. Sneha is good to have. Affection is good because then you have this the aspect of compassion, empathy, love, caring, sharing that happens, like the affection a mother has with her child. But if that sneha turns into abhisneha, attachment, that is where the element of possessing and control happens. And that is the whole problem. So anabhisneha is one that is not attached. A wise person does not have attachment. Exactly how Gurudev is, no? He's made so many teachers, he's got so many devotees and followers. He's such an anabhisneha. He has liberally given us so much of knowledge himself and knowledge for us to share as teachers and volunteers. That is why he keeps saying educate and ignore. He doesn't say educate and entangle. Entanglement happens when you have this abhisneha, like oil and glue, it sticks to you. So good. And a wise person's heart is full, actually, because his heart is not caught up anywhere. It is always free and in its own place. Whereas our hearts are, we've distributed bits of our heart to everything. Little bit in our children, little bit in our spouse, little bit in our bank balance, in our possessions. All this is such important, aspects to reflect upon rest of the day. Yeah. Anyone wants to share anything before we close? Yeah. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, thank you so much.
Jai Guru. Dhanyavad.
Amazing, Manana.